Okay, so tried this a couple times now. I've never really done a video like this, but I am going to be brewing some tea today. The world's kind of gone just a little bit crazy, and I know that whenever things start to get stressful for me, something that always helps for me is brewing a cup of tea. So I am definitely new to the whole tea thing, as you can see by my kind of janky setup here. But I found tea to be something really enjoyable for me to do. It's a very fun social thing to do with my friends, and yeah, so today I'm brewing this incredible rock oolong da hong pao. So just gonna start by rinsing these leaves here, and all this does is just, we don't steep it for hardly any time at all. We just wanna knock the dust off, get it kind of clean, and there you go. Yeah, very nice. Really good color already. Look at that. I can set that away too. So just pour out our tea rinse there. Okay, so time for steep number 1. So, I've found for me personally that brewing tea is a really relaxing thing on, a couple of different levels. Especially this Gong Fu style. It's really great to do, when you have friends over. It's very relaxing to watch, at least I think so. I hope you agree. Who knows? This video may never see the light of day. But yeah, just a fun little relaxing thing, and I'm definitely a novice. As you can see by my brewing stand here, which is basically just I 3D printed it because I didn't feel like buying one just quite yet. I already spent a lot of money on this teaware and everything. But yeah, look at those really lovely leaves. I don't quite know the exact quality of this Da Hong Pao. That'll focus. I'm just using my webcam here. It's not particularly good, but it's what I've got, so yeah. And this Da Hong Pao is really a very special tea. It's the most expensive tea I own by a country mile. But it's really tasty. Yeah, really good. It's got a nice sweetness to it. So, why am I recording this video, you might ask? I don't know. Maybe you don't ask. Maybe you don't care. Well, like I said, the world seems to have gone crazy. For good reason, too, but currently in college myself, and depending on when you're viewing this, you may not know, but there's a virus going around, and it's got everybody pretty scared, for good reason too. But so all my friends are leaving back home, because they don't live in state, and this tea is something we would all do together a lot of times, and kind of, it's a good thing to bring everybody together, and but especially I find when everybody's so stressed that it's just it's a good relaxer, so hopefully you find this video relaxing too. And frankly, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. I knew I wanted to brew some tea for myself, but beyond that, I don't really have any goals. I didn't script anything. I was just gonna brew some tea and see where it went. I'm not particularly good at whispering, so I'm just going to try and speak softly. I don't know, maybe I'll whisper later, but for now, just to get the video started, we'll just start with this sort of whispering. So, really, really good. And this is just steep number 1. So, for those of you who might be watching who are unfamiliar with, well, what all these ridiculous accessories are, delicious. This is what is known as Gong Fu style brewing, or whatever you would like to call my extremely butchered version of Gong Fu. But basically, way back, way back, not quite when tea was first being drank, but, you know, a while ago for sure. This is how the Chinese and Japanese originally would drink their tea. So you might be used to seeing tea brewed in teapots and things. And that's a Western evolution of the way the Chinese would do it. In Western brewing, we put a small amount of leaves in a little basket or something and steep them for a few minutes, and this basically just will brew the leaves entirely really quickly. It brings out all the flavor at once, and you kind of get maybe a couple steepings out of it, not a lot. But with Gong Fu, we do these little, we start by adding more leaves than you normally would, and you brew them very, very quickly. 10, 20 seconds, I don't know. If you watch the video, you can time me. I'm probably not doing a very good job. I'm not counting in my head or anything. I just kind of eyeball it. And like I said, I'm definitely not perfect, but the idea is to steep very quickly. And, oh, just look at that. Lovely color. Let's see. There you go. Feel a little bit like a makeup tutorial artist right now. Just trying to show off the color of the liquor of the tea. So yeah, we put a bunch of leaves in this little bowl here that I've got called a gaiwan. In Chinese, it literally just means bowl, at least as far as I'm aware. Oh yeah, look at that. Just give it a smell. Really, really good. Basically, yeah, so we put all these leaves in this little bowl called a gaiwan, and we brew it for a very short period of time. And then as you can see, we just pour it out into our little glass here, which we call a gong dabe. Now, given that I'm just brewing for myself here, I really don't need to be using it, but it's just kind of nice, and it sort of completes the ceremony a little bit. But generally, that's just so that everybody who you're drinking tea with gets the same amount of tea. So, not too much to do in between sips, but just kind of appreciate the taste. I found tea personally to just be very, just very calming. You know, especially this ceremony. You know, they say when you're stressed, you should meditate. And the whole point of meditation, at least mindfulness meditation, which is what most people are used to, is to basically get your brain to be distracted, which is why you often see people say when you're stressed out to just breathe, right? Focus on your breathing. And breathing does a couple things. Breathing brings more oxygen into your body, which is obviously helpful for you. But as well, it gives your brain something to do, something to focus on. And when we're stressed, often focusing on something is one of the most important things we can do. Because when you're stressed, your mind is sort of racing, thinking about a million things at once, you know. Um, but if you give your brain a job like that, then you're sort of distracted for a bit, you know. You're giving your brain a task so that you don't have to think about all the other nasty things that you might otherwise want to think about. And that's why they tell you to breathe. But for me, I've also found that Gong Fu brewing does something very similar. You know, there's a lot of intricacies to Gong Fu brewing, you know, making sure you've got the time, you know, getting the air bubbles out of the tea. Frankly, if you ask me why you do that, I don't really know, but I do it anyway, just to get them out. You know, pouring from one thing to another, keeping track of time and everything like that. It does all those same things as breathing does. Now, I'm not bringing more oxygen into my brain, but you could argue I'm bringing tea into my belly, which is something in and of itself. So, yeah. So we're on steep number 3 now. I haven't drank this Gong Fu in a while. This is the most expensive tea I own, and there's a fun story behind Gong Fu. Gong Fu is a very traditional Chinese oolong tea, and as with a lot of traditional Chinese teas, there's very storied pasts behind them. And so, the story behind Gong Fu, Da Hong Pao, which means big red robe in Chinese, is that some 2,000 years ago, there was a scholar in ancient China, and he had exams coming up. Kind of like, at the time I'll be publishing this, some students probably do, although who knows now with classes going online. And he got very ill. Again, kind of like today. A lot of parallels. Trust me, I didn't plan that. And he got very ill, and as he was sitting in his bed, he saw outside his window this almost glowing bush with little white, like a white aura around it from these like downy silver needles all across it. So he went out and he plucked the leaves from the bush, and then he decided to brew them, and then drank the brew that came from them. And a few days later, he was cured. He says, wow, this is, really crazy. But then, a little while later, this was, of course, after his exams, which he went on to pass with flying colors, the Empress of all of China became very ill herself. And so, being the good student he was, he rushed to the capital and recommended that the Empress drink this tea. And so she did, and it cured her. And so the emperor was very grateful and wanted to honor these tea bushes. So the emperor made a big celebration going out to these tea bushes, and he laid down big red robes around all 6 of the mother bushes of Da Hong Pao. And that's where the name comes from the big red robes that were laid down around these bushes. Now, Da Hong Pao itself is, well, it's about as ancient as the story, and it's a very old story. They say that the mother bushes of Da Hong Pao, which you would be hard pressed to get actual tea from, that's very, very pricey stuff. Most of the Da Hong Pao that people drink is from bushes that have been derived, or bushes that have similar tea leaves. It's hardly really close to the same thing, but the story's fun anyway. But those original mother bushes have had their tea leaves harvested for some 2,000 years. Tea trees are some of the oldest living plants in all the world. It's really great. It's impressive. And so, of course, with a tea that's steeped in Chinese lore and legend, this tea fetches a pretty high price. Hopefully my thing doesn't go off here. If so, I'll just edit it, I guess. Cut pieces together. That's fine. I don't know how big of an issue that'll be, but we'll see. That's just my heating going off in the background. We'll see if I have to cut it out or not. I don't know. But yeah, these mother bushes go for, this tea is very steeped in medicine. It's, praised for its medicinal qualities and its complex taste. So it's the most expensive tea I own. The place that I bought it at charges almost $20 an ounce for this tea. It's considered a gift tea, something that you get somebody, maybe if they were to graduate or celebrate a birthday or something. But for me, it's just a fun tea to serve to my guests. Now, why is that? Well, it's a very complex taste. If you know teas, there's a few different kinds. There's white teas, green teas, black teas, or in China, red teas, oolong teas, pu'er teas, and then there's other teas like herbals, mate, rooibos, but those aren't teas. But there's also, of course, yellow teas, which are very, very rare. But oolong teas are some of the most complex as far as their the process of how they're made. And these are an even more complex sort of subgroup of oolong teas called rock oolongs. And rock oolongs get their name because of their very minerally taste. Tastes almost like you're drinking a very strong spring water with your tea. And this is because of a special process that just rock oolongs go through called bruising. And from what I've been told, it basically just involves the tea leaves being thrown around and aerated in a barrel, which bruises the leaves and brings out these mineral flavors. And so, this is a really fun tea that I like to bring out with my friends who have been drinking tea with me for a little bit, because it's got a very, very complex flavor. It's got a really sweet sort of honey chocolate flavor to it. Although, for me, I've had a few chocolatey tasting teas, and for me, personally, the flavor is like mocha. It's almost like coffee-ish to me. And another thing with Gong Fu brewing is, as you brew, because you're doing these rapid steeps with a lot of leaves, each steep the leaves will open up more and more, and as they do, because that's where you get your flavor from with the teas, you will get more varied flavors, and you really get to taste the whole tea leaf, which is what makes Gong Fu really, truly special, besides just being a fun social activity. And so you really, with this Da Hong Pao, you get a very complex flavor that's really fun to experience. And so I really like, for me, it's like kind of the final boss of teas for my friends who have been drinking tea with me for a little bit. Because once your palate's kind of acquired, a lot of teas have a very specific taste, and Da Hong Pao really, for me at least, just comes out of left field. Just especially because of that like minerality taste that it has going on, which I find super interesting. So, who knows? I don't know if anybody will even watch this video, but if you are watching this video and you're a tea enthusiast, please feel free to absolutely rip me to shreds on my, I'm sure, terrible brewing form. I actually had a class that I paid for. Don't ask me why. I'm sure I could just watch YouTube videos, but I just like doing these kind of things. I had a class I'd pay for that was going to teach me all the ins and outs of brewing, but it got canceled thanks to the virus. So here we are instead. as far as my brewing technique, I like to use the sort of hamburger style pour for my Gaiwan. It's definitely not the most proper, but it's comfortable. You'll notice I use the entire Gaiwan. I use the tray as well as the bowl and the lid. A lot of people will just use the bowl and lid, and I'm sure I could. I have no reason why I don't. So, I mean, I guess that's not entirely true, but because I found just using the bowl and lid, if you're not careful, you will get a little bit extra that comes out around the sides here when you're pouring, and that can burn. Ouch, no good. So, whereas with the the hamburger style, I'm really not touching the sides, you see, so it makes for a nice easy pour, so nothing can leak out onto my hands. So, more on the Gong Fu process. Oh, I had a thought, but I lost it. Forgive me, it's my first ASMR video. I've had some people tell me my voice is relaxing, but frankly I don't know if it's that my voice is relaxing or I'm just good at doing relaxing things. I'm a bit of a mom friend. When it comes to my social groups, I like taking care of people, I like serving people tea, I like making sure people are always feeling good, just generally like being a caretaker. And with that, I've helped several friends through some guided meditations and things like that. And yeah, really basically why I even made this video in the first place was just, there's someone I follow on Twitter who does ASMR videos, Pocket Fox. Should really check them out. I might link them in the description. I mean, I don't see why not. I wouldn't really be giving them any publicity, obviously, but, may as well cite my sources. But they made a post where they were drinking some Gong Fu style tea today with their partner. And I was like, oh hey, look, one of my ASMR artist people that I follow, and they're drinking tea. I'm like, that's really awesome. And I had thought about it for a while, because to me the Gong Fu process is really relaxing. Like I said, it works very similar to me anyways, as a sort of meditation. It's a very meditative process. So I figured, well, that'd be kind of cool. And I said, hey, this is really cool. I love seeing this. I just got into tea myself. I've always kind of figured I might make a ASMR video on just Gong Fu brewing. And they were like, oh, that'd be really cool. You should link me if you do it. And I'm like, well, screw it. I guess now I have to. Not really, but, On top of that, of course, with all our classes being canceled and whatnot, I really don't have anything better to do than just sit at home and enjoy some tea. And of course, normally I enjoy tea with friends, but like I said, they're all leaving back to their respective houses, so, what am I to do other than drink tea with people online? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, first ASMR video, very, very janky setup. Please do leave critiques. I'd love to know what I could do better within my realm of possibility, of course. Of course, because there's only so much I really can do, but like I said, I'm using my web camera right now, and the white balance is just awful. All the colors are really blown out, and it's just not very great. It's grainy. Resolution's not great. A lot of, like you can see, nope, where is it here? There's just a lot of sort of gamma. And I'd love to be able to record with my phone, but it would be very tricky. Obviously, right now I'm using my headphone microphone, which is a, what is it called? Mod mic. I forget which version of mod mic it is, but it's coming out real clear. That is one thing, is a lot of oolongs will last a long time as far as their quality of pour, but Da Hong Pao does kind of doesn't last super long here, so good for just a short video, hopefully to help you relax during these times. But yeah, I'd love to figure out a way to record with my phone. The main trick really is just not super keen on showing my face, if I can get away with it anyways. And so I like this top-down view, but that's really hard to do with my phone without like a really odd stand setup. I'm just not super sure how I would pull that off. I'm sure there's a way, but I'm just not, I wasn't ready to think about that right now. Just wanted to crank this video out real quick. Hope you enjoy the ambient sounds too. Just got a YouTube video playing in the background. I'm recording this whole setup through OBS, which I've used to stream before on the rare occasion I do stream on Twitch, in which case nobody watches, but that's just how it is on Twitch. I don't know how the drinking sounds will come through. Maybe they'll be relaxing, maybe they'll be horrifying and nasty. Kind of hard to say, to be honest. This will be the last pour here because we are fresh out of water. And frankly, as awesome of a flavor as Da Hong Pao has, really does not last after about 6 steepings, at least per my tastes. That's just kind of what the experiences that I've had with Da Hong Pao, but what can you do? So, if you do manage to find this video, congratulations, first of all. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Let me know if it was relaxing. That'd be really awesome to hear. If you think this kind of format of video is nice, because I haven't really seen anybody else do tea brewing ASMR. And granted, I don't even know if you could call this ASMR, frankly. I'm not paying particular attention to being soft-voiced or doing anything particular ASMR-ish, but you can almost classify it as unintentional, because my goal was to be intentional, but quite frankly I'm not trying too hard, so who knows. But yeah, if you did find the video nice, you want to see more tea brewing videos, because like I was saying before I distracted myself, is I really don't see tea brewing ASMR anywhere, and I've certainly looked. You'll find a lot of Gong brewing videos, well, not a lot even, frankly. But you can find Gong brewing videos online, which are of course not trying to be ASMR, but I find them very relaxing. Often in the deep corners of YouTube, a lot of these videos I found have like 400 and 500 views. Sometimes like not even in English, or often not even in English. And I find them really relaxing, and it's just kind of surprising to me that more people don't do it, because like I said, it's just very relaxing to me. So, now that I'm all caffeinated and awake, and we're on our last few sips here, no idea how long I've been recording, how long of a video it's been. But I certainly can do longer videos, just depends on the tea I'm brewing. Like I said, frankly, I'm not really keen to drink this Da Hong Pao for too long, but and I would like to plug the guys who I bought it from. They're just a local sort of shop. They started here in my college town here. Kucha House of Tea. Really awesome shop. The guys there are super knowledgeable. I've heard people complain that their tea bar is not great, but frankly, I mean, I disagree. But also, like, you shouldn't be coming here for tea. Like, buy the tea yourself and just make it. Like, um, but they're family owned. They're really sweet. It's a husband and wife who started it here in Boulder. Um, I believe they're both from mainland China. I don't quite remember where. And they came to Boulder and they were like, "Hey, there's no, Chinese tea shops here. We should fix that." And they did. And I'm very grateful for them for it because they basically catapulted me into the world of tea. Um, so, yeah, that's Kucha. That's where I get pretty much most of my teas from. But yeah, let's just give this a lovely. You can see the leaves here are significantly less dark. Still very dark, but they've also opened up more. You can see a lot more greenery in there. Unfortunately, I cannot convey smells through the medium of YouTube, but if I could, trust me, it's a really good smell. But there you go. I think that's all I really have for this video. That's 6 or so steepings. I really wasn't counting, but generally my pitcher will brew about 6, so there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this, whoever it is you may be. Perhaps no one, hard to say. And thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good day, and remember to just take a second to relax. See you later.